when my child hadn't even come out of the womb. And welcome to my channel. My name's Nicole, and here on We Mama I do lots of motherhood, lifestyle, cleaning and organisational videos. So if you like that kind of content, I would love it if you could stick around and maybe consider subscribing. Today's video is going to be a motherhood one. I very recently did a video all about having a toddler on a budget, and I just thought the main thing that most people really need to do on a budget is have a baby, because babies can be so expensive, but they don't have to be. So I thought I would share the tips that I made use of when I was expecting my first baby. I found out that I was pregnant with my first very close to my wedding. So my beautiful little baby boy, he arrived a bit earlier than expected. So as you can imagine, having the expense of a wedding to pay and then discovering that you would do a tiny human, that was fun. It definitely threw things into motion where we basically didn't have any money left over from the wedding for a baby. So I really had to cut corners, make sure that I was buying things within our budget, and I just wanted to share my tips. So like I mentioned before, babies are very expensive. Everything that you need to purchase for them really adds up, but they don't have to be expensive if you're smart about it. I found it really helpful to lower my expectations of having a baby. It is so easy to get just wrapped up in this baby bubble of going into John Lewis and going to the baby section and just falling in love with everything. When I was pregnant, mother care was still going, so of course going to places like that and you see all the cots lined up, or prams, it can be quite overwhelming, and not just in the amount of things that you buy, but also the prices. After our wedding, I went straight into John Lewis, and it was just so lovely to go and look at all of these new baby items. But when it came to looking at prams, I think that's the first thing that hit me and kind of brought me down to earth. I had no idea what kind of pram I wanted. We did need a car seat, and we needed a pram with a bassinet, and we also needed a pram for a toddler to grow into. So I think that's what first hit me hard, and I realised I can't afford this amount of money. I wasn't in the highest paying job, and neither was my husband at the time. We were renting we were living in a city centre apartment. So yeah, we had to really scale things back. So I definitely found lowering my expectations helped quite a lot. It's not the nicest conversation to have with yourself, like telling yourself, no, you can't have this, especially to me, because I just want everything. But having that kind of talk with myself really, like I said, brought me down to earth. I really went down a rabbit hole when I was looking at baby nurseries. We chose not to find out the sex of our baby, so I was just looking at unisex bedrooms, and yeah, these nurseries were so beautiful. I realised once I lowered my expectations, brought myself down to earth a bit, it made things a bit easier. I know that's really easy for me to say. Most people would be like, yeah, well, that was out of my budget anyway, I can't afford prams that much, or I can't afford a nursery like that. But I am a very stubborn person. If I have my head or my heart set on something, I get very attached to that idea. And when I realise that I can't have that, essentially I sound like a spoiled brat. So when I got my head out of the clouds and I realised that I wasn't going to be paying £700 for my baby Zen yo-yo, and I didn't need an aesthetically pleasing newborn nursery. These are the things that I wrote down just to make sure that I had a plan. I wasn't going to go off budget, things that I could do to lower my costs. So here we are. I'll stop rambling and get straight into it. So first on my list is baby clothes. Baby clothes get so expensive. They don't have to be. Like I mentioned, there are certain places where you can go for these, but my initial thoughts, I was just going straight to Next. I got sucked into all these beautiful patterns, like the little dinosaur ones, and yeah, they add up. I think in Next for a pack of 3 it's £16, and that can be a good price point, but at the same time, when you add up the amount of clothing that you need, like with a baby, you really need to consider how many outfits or onesies they need. They don't necessarily have to have like beautiful little outfits straight away, because all they do is live in their onesies, but onesies can add up, and You need to also think about the amount that you have through each growth spurt. With my little boy, he grew so fast, and my daughter didn't grow as fast. So, you know, we needed to have a certain amount of onesies for like every 3 months. I was constantly sometimes throwing them away, which doesn't sound great, but when he would have like poo explosions, poo namis, at the newborn stage, their poo is bright yellow, and I cannot get those stains out for love nor money. Obviously, I'm not going to donate a poo stained onesie, and I am not very thrifty or very good with sewing, so of course there's no way that I can really repurpose those. So I did go to places where it was cheaper for me, such as Primark, and I just bought plain ones. And then the other thing that's really helpful is to just ask around. If you know anyone with babies, for me this wasn't entirely the case because I'm an only child, I lived quite far out, no one I know has had babies yet. For me, I really had to like go out and buy my own stuff. But then at one point, one of my aunties, one of my cousins had a little boy, and she gave us a load of onesies, you know, from like 6 months up to 12 months, so that was really handy to have. And then someone that I used to nanny for, she also gave me a load of her little boy's clothes. So I cannot tell you how grateful I was for these clothes. All of a sudden your child is just not fitting into the onesie that they've just been wearing for the past how many weeks. Literally, they grow so fast, like right in front of your eyes, and I don't know if it's because I was in denial, but next thing I know, I just couldn't do the poppers up, or, you know, my little boy's legs were just getting so stiff in these onesies. So to have those second-hand or hand-me-down clothes to hand were lifesavers. So yes, my first tip isn't exactly groundbreaking, but if you do have someone nearby who is willing to just lend you those clothes or give you those clothes, it is just such an easy way to keep costs down. My second tip is to DIY. If you are crafty or handy in any way, then get to work. Your world is your oyster when it comes to baby things. There is just so much stuff that you can make for a baby. I'm personally not very crafty, and I'm not very good at sewing, so I didn't really do much of my own DIYing, but I saw so many amazing examples on Pinterest where, you know, there's so many patterns. So if you've got the fabric and you have got, you know, like crafty hands, then chances are you can make your own baby things. And if you're good at it, then it's just so much better, because if people will compliment you and be like, oh, where did you get this? Where did you get that? And you can be like, I made that. So on Pinterest, I have seen people make their own sleeping bags for their babies, their own like sheets for the beds. I've seen people making portable changing mats for the nappy bag, even pouches, and even things as far as their own play mats. So instead of buying at a baby gym, because those things can add up. I think I mostly went to TK Maxx, and my lovely mother also gifted us a lot of those kind of items, because obviously she was very excited to be a first-time grandmother. So I got lucky there, but I know that not everyone else is that fortunate. If you can make your own things, this is such a good cost-effective way. The only thing that I did kind of DIY or made do with was a dresser. I knew that I didn't want a changing table, I didn't have the space, and I knew that when my child got to a certain size that a changing table wouldn't quite be as feasible. So I already had a big dresser, chest of drawers that I think I stole off my mum. Thanks, Mom. And I basically put a changing mat on top of that with a basket, so it was practical, functional, it was 2-in-1, and it saved space. So I think that was my only kind of thing that I DIY. If you are crafty and you have got the time and the patience and the materials, I would highly recommend making your own baby products, such as clothes. If you can make clothes, get on that sewing machine and make your onesies. Along with clothes, you can also make toys. 3-month-old only kind of needs fabric toys at that age, so you can just make your own rattles, balls with a little rattle inside. The possibilities are endless, and I really, really wish that I was crafty and I could sew. My third tip is to really think about what you need versus what you might not. Write a list of all the things that you want, and then just put a star next to them if you might not really need them, or, you know, do a lot of research on YouTube. That's what I found that I was doing when I was pregnant. That's how I kind of found the YouTube world, was by researching products. Like, I think I really fancied a snooze pod, but I just couldn't justify the price, and then I just started to research it, like, do I really need it? And I found the majority of people saying that it was so good and helpful to have, but essentially you didn't really need it. So I didn't buy one with my first, but then I bought one with my second. I ended up getting the snooze pod second hand with my second, which I will go into in a moment. But I think it's really helpful to just make a list and go through what you really need. And when you write everything down, I would literally just star or make a note of the actual essentials. And the main thing you want to be planning for is just the 3 months in advance. It's so easy to just go out and buy as much stuff as you can. If it's in sales and things like that, then you know, you do you. But like I said, it's so easy to just start buying whatever you want. I remember at one point I was looking into high chairs and I was just kind of like, why am I thinking of purchasing that now? I haven't even given birth. So I did have a little look around, I think, at models that I wanted, but I knew that it was just silly to buy a high chair when my newborn wouldn't be in that high chair for the next 6 months. It might sound obvious, but at one point I was ready to buy my high chair when my child hadn't even come out of the womb. Highly recommend looking through your wants and needs and also just planning 3 months ahead. Just planning for those first 3 months and the essentials is all you really need to do. Like, do you need bottles? Yes. Do you need a crib? Yes. High chair, play gym? No, you don't need to purchase that straight away. In the first 3 months of their life, they won't be using any of that. My fourth tip is just recognising what to splurge on and what to save on. As I mentioned previously, it is so easy to just go to Mothercare and to John Lewis and get sucked in by all the beautiful baby things. It's not always cost efficient, it's not always within people's budgets. So my favourite thing to do was always go to Amazon and eBay and price match things. I would automatically always go to Amazon, and then I noticed that eBay did the same thing, same brand, for sometimes even up to £4 to £10 cheaper. So I bought quite a few things on eBay. One of my most favourite places to shop for baby things is Aldi. Aldi have a fantastic baby event. I know most shops do, but Aldi just seems to get it. They have the most beautiful toys, most beautiful accessories, playthings, and they are at such a fantastic price point. And if those things don't get sold, then they lower the prices even more. So Aldi is a great place. If you are expecting, definitely check out Aldi. You really just can't go wrong with their wipes and nappies. And also, just before Christmas, they have a fantastic toy event. So when my little boy turned 1, and even for his 2nd birthday and Christmas, I went all out at this toy event and we just bought the majority of his toys from Aldi. But yes, Aldi is a fantastic place to shop for babies. Another great place that I like is Home Bargains. There are so many like baby essentials that you can pick up in Home Bargains. They do have their own baby aisle where they've just got like baby essentials, like all the wipes and maybe weaning things, but I've just noticed that the price points are a lot cheaper. When I lived in the city centre of Chester, my main place to buy baby things was Boots, and just comparing the prices from a Boots to a Home Bargains, you're essentially getting the same brands, but they were just so ridiculously expensive from Boots. Another thing that I pick up from Home Bargains is all my children's medications, such as Calpol, teething powder. I just noticed with Home Bargains that they have like a couple of pounds knocked off the price in Home Bargains compared to Boots. So I think Calpol in Boots is something like £5, even in like my local supermarkets, whereas in Home Bargains it's about £2.80. Another one of my most favourite places to buy baby items is Facebook Marketplace. As I mentioned earlier, I really wanted a snooze pod at one point and I just couldn't justify spending £200 on an item that my child was only going to be in for 6 months. So I didn't get one with my first, but we didn't have the best experience with the Moses basket. It did the job with my first, but it wasn't entirely comfortable, and just knowing that a snooze pod makes your baby at eye level, I was really sold on that. So with my second baby, I still wasn't prepared to spend that £200 on a snooze pod, brand new. So I looked at Facebook Marketplace and I found a snooze pod for £80. My lovely mother very kindly gifted this to us and it has been amazing, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't do that the first time around because I just love that snooze pod. I also bought the majority of our big baby items second hand because, as I mentioned, the prices in John Lewis and Mothercare just really added up and really were just out of our budget. So I bought my cot and I bought my pram from Facebook Marketplace and I got some absolute steals. I got a stocky pram for £150 and I also got a stocky cot for £100, which grows with my child. Complete bargains. So yeah, I would always just sit down and make a note on what your prepared to really spend your money on, and things that you are prepared to save money on and go secondhand with. I know it's not for everybody, but for me, I really didn't have a problem with it, and I have got some beautiful items all for a fraction of the cost. And my last tip is to wait for sales. I have also bought the majority of my baby items in a sale. These days you get fantastic baby events. I know that lots of supermarkets do that, where they just slash the prices of really popular baby items. So I did this with a high chair with my first. I really wanted this Joey, it was like a grey starry high chair. It was £120 and got it in the sale for £60, and the same goes with my Tommy Tippy prep machine. Hands down the best purchase I have ever made. If you are bottle feeding, just stop what you're doing if you've not got one and go and buy a Tommy Tippy prep machine. I really wish I'd bought that with my first. But yes, the Tommy Tippy prep machine, it makes your bottles like straight away at the perfect temperature. I think that again retails for £120, and in like a sale on Amazon, got it for £60. But yes, as I mentioned, I know that supermarkets do fantastic baby events. My local supermarket is a Morrison's, and I don't really tend to find that one to be amazing, but I know that Asda, like George by Asda, have fantastic ones, especially in like the bigger supermarkets where all the baby clothes are on sale and you can just get so many baby items for half the price. So guys, there we have it, my 5 tips for having a baby on a budget. I know these aren't groundbreaking, but for me, they did bring me down to earth a bit and helped me not to get overwhelmed and spend all my money. If you like this video or it helped you in any way, I would love it if you could give it a big thumbs up. Please leave any comments down below. I love reading them and getting back to you. Please leave any of your budgeting and baby tips, or if you bought anything on a budget with your babies, I would love to know. Thank you so much for being here. I post content on motherhood, lifestyle, cleaning and vlogs every Tuesday and Thursday. I would love to have you as a viewer, so please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.